welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. In this, our September 4th, 2023 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including why Michael is so tired after DragonCon. We're going to be talking about...
You are not lying!
The season finale of Season 1 of My Adventures with Superman and the prospects for Season 2. We're also going to be talking about the latest comic books, action figures, merchandise, and so much more. And we're going to turn to you, if we have time, for your questions and comments on any particular Superman topic you would like to discuss, and to let you know how all that works and how you can get involved in tonight's show. Let me introduce you to, I can't promise he won't, you on through the show, Michael Bailey. Hello, Michael, how are you?
Hey, Steve. Did not have time to watch the season finale of Superman. My Adventures with Superman. We were running and gunning like all weekend, literally all weekend. So, yeah, your mic is your sound's a little off. Just to let you know.
Might help if I bring the microphone closer.
There you go. There you go. No, I seriously, from Wednesday night until 2-3 hours ago, we've just been, I'm coasted on maybe 2-3 hours of sleep a night. So it's been fun, but yeah, we didn't get a chance to watch it, sadly. So you talk about it, spoil it. I don't care. We're gonna probably watch it tomorrow, and I can give some thoughts next week.
Okay, sounds good. But yeah, so how do fans get involved in tonight's show?
Oh, it's real simple. Just go to supermanhomepage.com/live and click on the Call Now button. That'll take you to the green room where you can actually watch the show while you wait to get onto the show to get on with us. Also, if you want to use your smartphone, you can scan the QR code that's right next to me that says "Scan Me." If you do use your computer and are using an external speaker to listen to, please mute that or turn the volume down, or put on some headphones. Similarly, if you're using your smartphone, use headphones or AirPods or whatever as well, because the sound can get kind of weird either way.
Indeed. Hopefully my sound is fine now, and everyone can hear me fine. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know why that happened, but nevertheless...
I'm going to take the hit on that, because usually I tell you about that before we go live, and you asked if I fell asleep. Maybe? In my chair? It happened?
Yes. I was sitting here, and the time's passed for going live, and Michael hasn't called in, and I'm like, oh, I bet he's fallen asleep. Poor bugger. He's absolutely, conked out from DragonCon. Before we get into My Adventures with Superman, how was DragonCon? What did you do? 16 different panels?
16 different panels, yes, sir.
Wow.
Lots of fun stuff. We had a fan panel on the 45th anniversary of Superman the movie, which was a lot of fun. I got to moderate a Superman Batman panel with Phil Hester and Mark Russell, Bo Hampton, and the other gentleman's name who's escaping me because my brain is mush right now, which was a lot of fun. More Batman fans than Superman fans, but we're used to that. And just a bunch of other comic book. Did a panel on a post-mortem on the Berlanti-verse, talking the highs, the lows, the legacy, etc. And did not get to meet a whole lot of celebrities. There wasn't a whole lot of people that I wanted to meet. I realized way too late that Tracy Scoggins was there. That might have been fun. But no, it's just an exhausting weekend. It's just
very,
and a lot of. I'm surprised my voice is still anywhere near normal, because I did a lot of talking.
Wow. Justin asks if you promoted the Superman homepage in your...
Absolutely. Especially at the Superman, the movie panel, I told everybody about this show.
Cool.
As part of when we were introducing ourselves. So, But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Literally, probably as soon as you and I say goodbye after the show's over, I'm going to go to bed for 3 days.
Well, I believe we have a yawn count going. So, yeah.
Have I yawned yet?
Not yet.
Think I have.
No, we don't see any numbers up on the screen yet. So, we'll try.
Yeah, it's just,
no, we won't.
It's just going to be oh God, I think I dropped something. Okay. Yeah, everything's fine.
Well, I'm glad that DragonCon was a success for you and that you had a good time. There obviously is that, what do you call it, post-con drop of emotion and feeling sad,
Yeah.
and that's a withdrawal symptoms, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you're surrounded by good friends, and it's a general good vibe. There's 77,000 people there, but they're all there to have fun.
Mm.
You get to meet people that listen to your podcasts, and that you have been friends with for years, and it's just it's such a different convention than other conventions because of how it's laid out. But unfortunately, we didn't have a hotel room this year, so there was no drinking, which is probably for the best.
Probably. But yeah, before we get too further on, thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. We appreciate your support. And if you want to join those fine folks and support our show or our website, feel free to click the join button below on YouTube. There are different levels of membership with different levels of perks. Or head to patreon.com/Superman homepage. Great way to support the site. Again, if you're a little bit shy and don't want to get on the phone or call us tonight, then the comments are going crazy. JP's already yawning. Hopefully that's not because we're boring him. Justin says, last week's interview with Josephine Campbell for My Adventures with Superman was awesome. Thank you, Justin. We really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. So thank you to the guys and girls who are joining us live in our comments right now. We will look at your questions and comments and participate and react to them as your participation continues through the shows tonight. So, and Justin says, prayers go out to the USA with all the crazy weather over there.
Yep, we had it was DragonCon, so there had to be a hurricane somewhere. Usually because of how the season lines up. Didn't seem it's always bad, but it didn't seem to be as bad as past years. So, but the season ain't over yet.
Cool, and thank you for all our people who are listening in live right now. Michael, Justin, JP, Will, Mind the Gap, Butson, and Dyna Guy, and so many others. We appreciate your joining us tonight. We love having you with us. All right, so let's get into tonight's topic, or topics, I should say. And first off, we like to talk with we've got no movie news to discuss, so to speak. So we get straight into the TV side of things, where, as I said, the finale for season 1 of My Adventures with Superman was on our TV screens. If you're lucky enough to be somewhere where it is airing, still hasn't seen any announcement as far as Australia is concerned. So we just have to hold tight and make do for the time being. But the finale was titled Hearts of the Fathers, and I personally gave this episode a 5 out of 5 rating. So, Michael, I know you haven't watched it yet, but as we said, we're going to be talking about it. At the very end, so this episode saw Clark invite Lois and Jimmy to the Kent farm for Thanksgiving. Jimmy had been there many times before by the sounds of things, but this was Lois's first time. And her father was invited, which is, yes, the revelation for Clark that Lois's father is the general, the same general who's been torturing him and, giving him a hell of a time over the last couple of weeks. And that's a bit of a revelation for Clark. It's also a revelation for Lois, because while she knew her father was obviously in the army, she didn't know what his job was. It was obviously top secret, and he was obviously protecting her from, the things that he knew about Kryptonian invasions or alien invasions and what have you. It's also the episode where Clark discovers kryptonite for the first time. The sphere comes into his possession through Jimmy, and not only does Clark see the projection of that evil Superman alternate reality, but the sphere opens up and the little shard of kryptonite bounces out, and Clark immediately gets that crazy effect of the poisoning, with not just the green veins and all that, but also the green crystals coming out of his hands and face and what have you, and he's in immediate pain. But the appearance of the kryptonite outside of the sphere reacts with the Kryptonian ship right beneath the Kent farm and instigates its, mechanisms, I guess, and the ship comes above ground. Sam Lane goes on full alert, calling in for backup, and all hell breaks loose. So the opening up of that portal, Kryptonian ship's about to come through again, as it did 22 years ago. And as I said, all hell breaks loose. And at the very end, we see everything that happened from the perspective of those inside the emerging ship. And it is none other than Brainiac. And he talks to a particular lead figure who has the words, or Brainiac says to this figure that he's found a planet that's rebellious, and the figure says, "Let them rebel. It does not matter. In the end, they will kneel."
Alrighty.
What do we make
That's
of all
exciting.
that? Yes. So, Mind the Gap says, I got the same vibes from the end of Grant Morrison's first Action Comics arc. I'm sure it's a coincidence as far as, some of the feelings of this episode. It's very exciting. It didn't. It lived up to everything I expected. I think I got spoiled by the two-parter of the episodes previous, where especially we had that great Superman moment where Superman, Metropolis helps Superman save the city, all the people there. That was just a great Superman moment. This was just as good, but just kind of, I don't know. I don't like cliffhangers are such a double-edged blade. Like, they're great, but then you just got to wait for the other shoe to drop, so to speak, come season 2.
Yeah, but when you have a second season, I think it's easier to do them.
Yeah.
Because at least then you're going to be able to pay it off.
Yes.
So.
And we knew Michael Emerson. He'd dropped the ball as far as announcing that he was voicing Brainiac many, many, many months ago. And I immediately heard his voice and went, obviously that's Brainiac, because the character design is like no other Brainiac we've seen before, really, except for the 3 dots kind of connecting symbol. Just such a great voice for Brainiac. He's just got that kind of menacing, computerized type of voice about the way he speaks.
No, I'm really looking forward to watching it. This show has not really let me down. And it sounds like there wasn't a whole lot of buzz about it at Con, but I wasn't really on the animation track.
Sure.
So I don't know if there was much talk about it. The little bit that I saw was, positive overall. So I'm glad that it's got some level of popularity.
It's been going crazy on our YouTube channel, and all the comments and things from the shorts and the videos we've been posting over there. So definitely an action-packed episode, and looking forward to seeing where they go in season 2 in regards to these characters that have been introduced. The portal shuts back up, cutting the ship in half at the end. So there is that to deal with, but obviously Brainiac and I'm guessing Zod are aware of Earth again, and will be coming at some time in season 2. I imagine it probably won't be immediately at the very beginning, because the episode finale did also promote Clark, Lois, and Jimmy from interns to full-on reporters, with Perry going, "You're such horrible interns, we just had to promote you to full-time reporters." And that was a great revelation as well. And we also had the finale, I guess right at the end there, when things were back to normal, where Jimmy revealed that he is now a millionaire because the Daily Planet has bought Flamebird.
That's like right out of the New 52 there.
Yeah.
Where he suddenly became a millionaire.
And it's not the first time Jimmy has become super rich. Like in many other different versions. I mean, even back in the Adventures of Superman TV series, there was Olsen's Millions was an episode where Jimmy came into money. And was it one of the comic book series where the Olsens and the Luthors were like two, family names that were big in Metropolis, and it might have been the Jimmy Olsen miniseries, that recent one, where
The one by Matt Fraction. Yeah, I haven't
yes,
read that yet. So.
yeah. So Jimmy definitely comes into some money there too. So yeah, really interesting. Progress there for some of the characters. I did feel for an episode, and I say this in my review, for an episode titled Hearts of the Fathers, it's obviously all about Sam Lane and his motivations and how he feels about Lois and all that kind of stuff. And then it's Jor-El's the other part of the other father, because of the what happens in this episode between him and Kal-El. But for an episode titled Hearts of the Fathers, I felt like Jonathan Kent's role was not up to scratch, if you like. He felt like a bit of a airhead. I mean, all he's worried about is the, cooking his turkey and whether or not it's going to be ready in time, and all this craziness is happening about him. He doesn't seem to be as proactive or as level-headed as Ma Kent, who is definitely the brighter and more involved of the two parents.
Well, to be fair, you put a lot of time into making a turkey.
True.
And it, on Thanksgiving, if the turkey gets screwed up, it's like the centerpiece of the meal. So, I mean, yeah, the world could get destroyed by Kryptonians and Brainiac and all that, but yeah, I maybe they think they put so much emphasis on General Lane and Jor-El that they figured, Clark's relationship with Jonathan is pretty solid. So there's nothing really to explore there because it's in good shape.
Yeah. So, looking forward to seeing where season 2 goes. And thank you for the Nostalgia Pod Blast for saying a great review, the comment. Really appreciate it. Which is a great time, since we've got quite a few people watching us live right now, to give us a thumbs up. Press that like button, and give us that like, because it helps with the algorithms and lets other people know about it, and we can get pretty big numbers to watching our live show. So do that right now. Give us a thumbs up, a like, and whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or whatever. And we appreciate your support in that small way. So yeah, season 2. They did post this at the end of the episode, saying that it is coming. Where is it? Here is the promo.
Thanks for watching the first season of My Adventures with Superman. Season 2 is in production now.
Short, sharp, to the point. Season 2 is in production now. Having spoken to Justine last week, they've got plans for more than season 2 if they can get renewed. But I wonder if obviously the actor strike is going to play a part in them not being able to get people recording their lines, unless it's already been done, because they had been given a 2-season order from the very beginning, pretty much. So they may have done a lot of recording and writing well in advance of this strike. I wonder any kind of... Justine couldn't give us... She just said she didn't know yet, or couldn't tell us about a season 2 premiere. From your knowledge of how TV shows and things work there in the US, do you have any kind of inclination when you think we might get a season 2?
Usually the lines are recorded ahead of time so that they can animate to them. So it's entirely possible that all the performances have been done, but the thing is, when the animation comes back, sometimes changes have to be made, and they have to do
pickups.
ADR, automatic dialogue recording, where they replace dialogue and such, and they can't do that right now because they're on strike. Also, if it requires writing, they can't do that because the writers are on strike. I read an article last weekend that cited some show on the Superman homepage that it is happening, and I'm being sarcastic about that. I was very amused when I saw. Like, I'm reading an article and I'm like, wow, this sounds like everything that Joseph. Oh wait, they're referencing us. Okay, that's cool. But yeah, it's just, it could be that it's there. I don't know if the animators are in a union that's somehow affected by the strike, it's entirely possible that's the case. And again, they can't get any additional performances, so it might be just kind of they're working on what they can work on and are just waiting for everything to blow over.
You'd think someone like Michael Emerson, who has said that he's voicing Brainiac, and there's only a couple of lines in this episode, you would imagine that they would get him to record more than just a couple of lines when he's brought in for a recording session. So that would lead you to think that some of season 2 has already been, the audio for that has already been done, and the scripts and that have already been written, because that would facilitate him coming in and doing more than just reading for a couple of lines, because I imagine his time is pretty expensive. But yeah, we'll wait and see. But yeah, looking forward to season 2. Cannot wait. If I had to have guessed whether My Adventures with Superman would live up to expectations, initially I probably would have said no. I didn't necessarily have high hopes. I didn't know what to expect necessarily, but I wasn't expecting it to be this good.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you hear about it and it's like, oh, a Superman animated series. That seems like it might be cool. And like maybe it's just because I'm kind of jaded. I don't want to get my hopes up about anything in particular. So like the expectations aren't low, but they're not super high. So maybe it's getting more of a pass because it's like, oh, it's good, so it's exceeding those expectations. Low expectations, high satisfaction.
Yeah,
is another way to say that. But no, it's just I tend to take these things as they come. To be fair, Superman and Lois was a ringer because I had a feeling that was going to work out. And it has. We don't know what's going to happen with the next Superman film because they're in a holding pattern as well. So maybe it's just nice that there weren't really any high or low expectations and it came out and it's just like, this is a great show.
So looking back over the entire first season, although you haven't seen the finale yet yourself, what stood out to you as being something that surprised you or pleased you the most?
I was surprised that I enjoyed watching Superman kind of discover his abilities and come into himself. I thought I was kind of done with like year one stories with this character, but they managed to kind of do it in a way that it's a nice evolution over the first season. He doesn't have all his powers at the very beginning. It seems like they have to get unlocked almost. Because of something you said either last week or the week before, it seems that Clark was holding himself back. And now, because he's willing to embrace it more, he's able to use more of his abilities. I also really liked that they leaned heavily into the Lois and Superman relationship. They let the identity get revealed quickly.
Yep.
And I like, that Lois, Clark, and Jimmy are all friends and kind of around the same age. It's a nice dynamic.
Yeah, I think that's been one of the elements that I've enjoyed about it, is that it definitely lives up to its title. It's My Adventures with Superman. So it's Lois, Jimmy, even Clark, and their adventures with the idea of Superman, because Clark is going along for this adventure just as much as the other two are, because it's a new concept for him, becoming Superman, being Superman, coming into certain powers at different times in his journey. It's definitely an adventure that the three of them are going on with the idea of Superman. But
yeah, absolutely.
What has probably been the thing that you've liked least about this animated series?
Even though I think Josephine gave a really good explanation for using the evil Superman trope, I thought it was a little too quick. I think they pulled the trigger on that a little faster than they should have. But that was really the only time that I ever was like, I'm not feeling that. Just about everything else, from the introduction of all the new villains, there's something samey when most of the villains come all from the same tech. But that's just how the show is structured. So it's like, how can I get mad at something that that's what the show is wanted to do,
Yeah.
and it's not bad, but it's like if they were like half-assed about it, or if they like if it was like ham-fisted, I think that would be more of a problem. But right from the beginning, it's the Kryptonian tech that's kind of guiding both Task Force X and the bad guys that we've seen.
Yeah, I'd have to say for me, the thing that probably annoyed me the most, or that I didn't appreciate as much as everything else, was the tech element. As you say, it kind of gave a sameness to all the villains, but that is the idea of behind these villains, is they all come from using the same tech or being supplied with the same tech. So it makes sense in the story they're telling. I just felt, as you said, it gave a sameness to pretty much a lot of them, even though they each had different powers from the different tech that they received. It kind of felt similar in a lot of ways. So, but yeah, I loved Jimmy having that whole personality of thinking about aliens and giant apes and gorillas and French talking, all the different things that his conspiracy theories I thought were a really cool way of bringing Jimmy into the show and having a different personality. And yeah, as you said, I love the Lois and Clark relationship and how quickly that's developed, and how cute they are. I mean, it's not a term that I like to use, cute, but they're just an adorable couple, and you just can't help but like all three characters.
I'll take cute over totes adorbs.
Oh, please.
Maybe I'm too old to actually say those words. I may have broken a law somewhere. But no, it's just, the romance between Lois and Clark, or Lois and Superman, however you want to kind of see it, is one of those kind of, to me, essential parts of the mythos.
Yeah.
Mainly because it's, you can't say, well, that's the way it was set up from the beginning, because there was plenty of times in like the first 30 or 40 years of this character's existence where those two were terrible to each other. Especially like in the Golden Age and at points during the Silver Age. But definitely in the modern era, especially since Superman the movie, them being together always seemed like that's just how it has to be. And when they were at that point in the New 52 where they weren't a couple anymore, and you went through those like 5 years where they like almost barely had anything to do with each other, something felt off. Something felt really not right about that. And you can make the argument, or Lois is a strong, independent woman, she doesn't need Superman. No, but that doesn't mean she shouldn't have a relationship. Just because someone is a strong, independent woman or man doesn't mean that they are made less by falling in love, as long as that relationship is pretty solid. And when you look at Smallville, when you look at I was going to say the Man of Steel universe, I think that romance was kind of a little ham-fisted. But definitely Superman and Lois, like, these two characters are better and stronger together than they are on their own.
Yeah, even Lois and Clark back in the 90s showed that the relationship angle could definitely work and not make either character less because of it. So, that's season 1 of My Adventures with Superman. Looking forward to hearing your actual thoughts of the finale when you get to watch it, and we get reconvene next week. So, looking forward to that. So we're at the halfway point of tonight's show. Let's take a quick break, play some messages, come back on the flip side to do what we were supposed to do last week, the end of month Super-Secret Sound Byte, also the fan favorite question, and This Week in History. We'll be back right after this with all of those and more.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program, just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/Superman Homepage.
up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer. I'm the voice of Superman in Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
Gosh, Clark, we've got to get back to the office and call London before the meeting's over. Taxi!
With the AT&T card, your people have the power to handle business better.
Taxi!
From anywhere to anywhere.
Come on, Clark.
It's okay, Lo. Everything's taken care of.
You always disappear in an emergency.
Order the AT&T card. It gives your people enormous abilities.
And we're back on Superman Homepage Live. Funny to see this phone booth there in that commercial. I was actually just down in the city on Sunday. It was Father's Day here on the weekend. My wife and I decided to just get out and enjoy the beautiful sunshine. We went down to Circular Quay here on the harbour, and we went in to have lunch at a place called City Extra, which has got a newspaper type of theme about its decor. And I forgot that they have a red phone booth in there with a Superman mannequin inside. It's been there forever and a day. It doesn't have any hair. It doesn't have a wig on it for some reason, so it's a bit weird. But yeah, that was an interesting kind of stumble across that while I was out and about on the weekend. And something else that I should mention, I know you've just come off a weekend filled with panels. I put in an application to do a panel for a convention coming up here in Sydney later this month. Not the Supernova one, the other one, the Oz Comic Con. And I think, well, I received an email yesterday saying my Superman 85 years panel has been accepted for the Sunday afternoon of Oz Comic Con. I think it's the 24th is the Sunday of September. So yeah, tentative at this point. Don't know any times or any details yet, but I'll be pretty excited to do a solo panel on the 85-year history of Superman, decade by decade.
Those are fun. I did one 5 years ago for the 80th at DragonCon, and if you're putting together a PowerPoint presentation, it's a little work.
Which I've done most of the work. So I tried to put in an application 5 years ago. So I've done 80 years. It's just the last 5 years that I need to do a bit of work on. So the bulk of it's done.
But especially if you're doing like a solo presentation, it's always better to have some visual aids just to make things a little more exciting. When you're like talking with other people, it's a little hard because you don't know where the conversation is going to go, so you don't know when to put up what image. I'm glad. Awesome. That's really keen.
Yeah, I'll have to run it by you to get your take on it and get any notes that you might have as far as feedback is concerned. But yeah, if you're in Australia, in the Sydney area of I think it's the weekend of the 24th, 25th, or 23rd, 24th, the Sunday afternoon, I will be doing a Superman panel by the looks of things. So I'll give you more details as that gets closer and it gets all confirmed. But let's jump into our regular segments. We didn't get to do the Super-Secret Sound Byte last week because we had our interview with Justine Campbell. So here is that intro.
Only one thing alive with less than 4 legs can hear this frequency, Superman, and that's you.
All right, Michael, here is the sound from that previous time when we did it. Not last month, the month before, like the end of the month before. So here is the old sound.
Johnny, we talked about this. Uncle Connor passed away.
Yes, poor Crypto whimpering in the background. We had one person guess it right. Who was that?
The person who guessed that right was Luke Lizaldek.
Well done, Luke. Congratulations for guessing where in the world of Superman that came from. It was, of course, from the Young Justice animated series. What did he say exactly? What I put there in the notes? What episode it was?
I Know Why the Caged Cat Sings, the 8th episode of season 4.
Yeah, there you go. So that was where that sound came from. Let's see if more people can guess where in the world of Superman this new sound comes from.
John Superman is my husband.
Do you think you know where in the world of Superman that sound came from? If you do, get to the Superman homepage website. Under the contact menu, you will find the Super-Secret Sound Byte. You fill in the form, send your entry in, and we will read out the names of each person who guessed it right when we return to this segment at the end of September. So get involved in the Super-Secret Sound Byte contest. All right, that was that. Let's move on to This Week in History.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bonds of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
This is an odd one because usually, like, you get more of the books in the early part of the years, but it's like the closer you get to 2013, the more books we get. In 1953, we have Superman number 85, the weakling who became a Superman. Very much a typical type of cover and such from this time period. Kind of wacky. I mean, looks like something that could have been an episode of the George Reeves series, in all honesty. Skipping all the way ahead to 1983, we have DC Comics Presents number 64. Ironically, this is not the last time we will see Commandy in this Week in History. And we also had Justice League of America number 221 in 1983 from this week. It's such a great cover.
Deadlier than the male.
Is that blood or is that fabric? Not quite sure what's going on there. And man, the fire on Firestorm's head is crazy. In 1993, we're continuing the return of Superman, where we get to the return of Clark Kent in Action Comics number 592, and an iconic Kerry Gamble cover. And oddly enough, Commandy at Earth's End number 5, which was an Elseworld series. That was a new take on Commandy, and old Superman definitely does not skip leg day. He's pretty much all over the place. He's one of those guys that probably shows up to the free weight sections with like 3 gallons of water.
Needs a haircut
I don't know,
too.
if you go to the gym, you probably know what I'm talking about. I know Steve knows what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Unless, Steve, you're not one of those guys that shows up with the 3
No,
gallons of water.
just the 1 liter.
Okay, very good. 2003, we have Action Comics number 807, kind of introducing Natasha Irons wearing the armor, which is something we see on Superman and Lois. We also had JLA Avengers number 1. This was a huge deal.
Big deal.
And if you want to read a novel to put yourself to sleep tonight, go read my review for it, because it was long, unnecessarily so. And we had Superman Birthright number 3, which this is one of the better issues of this series, showing how Martha comes up with the identity of Superman and Jonathan's reaction to it. I just really love this. Have grown to really love this series.
It's funny. We also got we had an comment earlier from Mind the Gap asking if it was Mark Waid who wanted to make Superman a vegetarian. Wasn't it in this series that that was kind of brought up?
Yes, because with his vision powers, he sees auras around all living things, so he has a problem eating things that were once living. It's like one of those things where, okay, if that's the case, it really doesn't care. I don't need a meat-eating Superman. If not, I don't think it makes him a bad person either. It's like one of those things where I feel strongly about it both ways.
Yeah.
And then in 2013, oh my, we are in Villains Month, Steve. Back in 2013 in September, we were ramping up for a crossover. So we had Action Comics 23.1, because there are actually 4 issues of Action. This was the origin of the cyborg Superman, where it was revealed that it's actually Zor-El. Still not a real big fan of that.
Lenticular covers, which is why it looks a little bit fuzzy.
Yep, yeah, you had your regular. Uh, I actually had both because I'm me. This was also when DC Universe versus Masters of the Universe #1 came out. I thought this series was a little disappointing because they take Superman out of it like almost immediately, and like that's just how they did things in 2013. Superman wasn't allowed to be part of anything. Forever Evil #1. This was the big crossover. You know, it occurs to me that like of 3 of the 4 books we're talking about for 2013, I think I wrote reviews for 3 of them.
You busy boy.
Yeah, that was a busy week for me. But Forever Evil #1, which was the new take on the Crime Syndicate, I kind of have a hankering to reread this 10 years later to see how it holds up. I wonder how that would go. I remember not liking the art all that much, which is too bad because David Finch is usually pretty good. And we had Superman 23.1 with the new Bizarro. If you see on the cover that he's wearing the T-shirt, yeah, he would wear the T-shirt in Forever Evil, except in the panels where he wasn't wearing the T-shirt, and then he would be wearing the T-shirt again.
Those sleeves.
Yeah, but no, I actually really like this version of Bizarro. He's very sweet. Justice League, yeah, I guess Darkseid, the Darkseid one. I don't think, Superman's on the cover. I guess I should have included this one.
I did.
But yeah, this was. I never liked this look for Darkseid. I wasn't really a big fan of the Jim Lee redesign. In the real world, September 5th, George Lazenby, who was one of the James Bonds for one film only. That's not the title of the film, but it was one of them. He was born in 1939. He also played... Well, he didn't really play Jor-El, because it wasn't Jor-El. It was an alien pretending to be Jor-El. So, but he was born in 1939.
In Australia? Come on, you're skipping the most important part.
I figured you were going to take that, sir. He's one of yours. Where was he born? In
Queanbeyan.
New South Wales?
Yeah.
The what?
Queanbeyan in New South Wales.
Oh, there you go. Justin Whalen was born on September 6th, 1974. It's always weird that he's two... This is the first Jimmy that was close to age as me. Also on September 6th, 1996, Superman the Animated Series premiered. It was in prime time. They showed the first 3 episodes as like one movie. And this series really holds up. I love it.
Great series. Love it.
And on September 8th, one of the panels that I was on in DragonCon this week, we discussed the 40th anniversary of The Super Friends, which premiered. It was originally an hour-long episodes, which is completely unnecessary. I just have to say that, those episodes. But at the end of the first season, you did have one of the most comic book accurate retellings of the origin in like an adapted form. Unfortunately, it's all told by Marvin, so you have like his commentary every once in a while, which kind of ruins it. But no, that is This Week in History.
Very cool. Thank you very much. And yeah, good to go back and have a look at some of those comic books and some of those dates in Superman's history. All right, let's jump into the fan favourite segment of our show. We've only got one response, but nevertheless, let's jump into it. Speaking of Superman the Animated Series, there was the theme. So what was our question from the last time we did the fan favourite question, and who was the only response we received?
Who's your favorite villain from Superman and Lois so far? And JP Rocha wrote, my favorite villain so far from Superman and Lois was Adam Rayner's Morgan Edge / Tal Rowe. I almost agree with that, but unfortunately, like after a while, he wasn't really a villain.
Yeah, true.
He did a face turn, as they say in wrestling. I'd go with Lex. Even though it's only 2 episodes, came in like a champ, like super hardcore right away.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. not a lot of memorable villains, unless you go with some of the creatures. Like Bizarro was an awesome twist. We thought it was Doomsday at first, and then the way Bizarro was handled and the way that Tyler Hoechlin portrayed the character with all the tics and the problems that he had, I thought that was a pretty cool villain.
Yeah, no, they definitely put a new and unique spin on that character. And I guess in a roundabout way, self-fulfilling prophecy, he did become Doomsday.
Yes, exactly. So well done. Thank you, JP, for writing in. And what is our new question for this week's Superman fan question?
Sticking with the villain theme, who was your favorite villain in season 1 of My Adventures with Superman?
Yeah, Michael and I discussed them a little bit earlier with the tech coming in to create villains that we know the names of, but definitely different versions in My Adventures with Superman than what we're used to. So what is your favorite villain from season 1 of My Adventures with Superman? Send us your email. The email address is there at the bottom of your screen if you're watching on video. If you're listening to us as a audio podcast, the email address is info@supermanhomepage.com. Send in your answers to let us know who your favorite villain from My Adventures with Superman is, and we will read out those responses when we return to this segment at next week's show, during next week's show. So looking forward to seeing what some of the fans think of the villains in My Adventures with Superman. All right, so that's the fan favorite question. That is the Super-Secret Sound Byte contest and This Week in History. Michael, I didn't even ask you if you'd read this one because I haven't as yet, but I know you're a big fan of everything to do with the death of Superman, so whenever Doomsday pops up, Action Comics presents Doomsday Special #1, One Shot. Did you get a chance to read that this past week?
I did, especially with how everything went. No, I have it on my iPad ready, and I even, since I don't have a comic shop anymore, I had to place an order for my physical copy. And yes, I did get the Dan Jurgens cover, in addition to the main cover, because I'm me. I'm interested to see where this goes. I think Doomsday is one of those characters that does not have a whole lot of success beyond Death of Superman.
Yeah,
it seems like
maybe Hunter Prey
in some
at the
cases.
most.
Yeah, Hunter Prey, maybe the Doomsday Wars, where Brainiac took control of it. But then the problem with Doomsday is once you get to that point where Lex Luthor turned his body over to Darkseid and Darkseid cloned him. I mean, once you start doing that, it takes away the uniqueness of the character.
True.
And then there was the version from the New 52, which was a choice. Especially, Super... Remember Super Doom, Steve?
Oh, yes.
It's Super Doom in our hearts. So I'm kind of interested. I mean, definitely. I mean, that's a great cover, regardless. And I'm really glad. So I got the 2-pack from McFarlane. Not directly. It's not like Todd sent me the figures personally. I had to order them, and it was the Doomsday from the right before the New 52, where he has the top knot with the it was tied off,
right?
And it was just funny because I'm like, how does Doomsday do that? I got big meaty hands. Tying my own hair is a giant pain in the ass. He's got the and none other than Dan Jurgens responded to my slightly jokey post and pretty much let it be known that he's not a fan of them having the hair on top. So that's why I was happy with this cover to see it's the more traditional looking Doomsday.
Nice. Yeah, our reviewer, James Lance, which was his very last review for our website for the foreseeable future. He's gone on to do other things. Says he wasn't expecting to enjoy this as much as he did, but the issue was surprisingly entertaining. The fact that Superman isn't fighting Doomsday in this is a welcomed change of pace. So I guess there is that. Because you always see Superman Doomsday going toe-to-toe whenever Doomsday pops up. So the fact that doesn't happen in this, especially in the front story, is a welcome change.
Yeah, Michael Mottner in the comments says, once you've killed Supes, your villain career has hit a ceiling. What do you do beyond that? It's just even though Superman came back, you still killed him.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, it's all downhill from there. But let's have a look at what the comic books are that are available this week, and there are a few of them, especially in the trades and hardcovers and sets and things. This is what you've got to look forward to if you're a Superman fan this week. You have Fire and Ice Welcome to Smallville #1. Yes, Fire and Ice aren't necessarily characters that we follow too much here at the Superman homepage, but they're headed to Smallville, and Superman is on one of the variant covers, and I believe does cross over with them during the story. So, yeah, if you're interested, that's available this week. Steelworks #4 is out this week as well, and that's available in a couple of different variant covers as well. DC Ruby trade paperback is out this week, as is DC War of the Undead Gods hardcover with a Supergirl themed cover. And then this one is going to get a lot of fans' attention. Superman 78, Batman 89 box set, made to look like VHS collection, 2-pack, is coming out this week as well, as is Superman Kal-El Returns in trade paperback format. So that's what you've got to look forward to as comic book readers if you're checking out the comic books this week.
That's a cute 2-pack for the Superman 78 and the Batman 89. I can kind of hear the mono, like, cheesy music going behind the colors on that front.
So true. If you're interested in trivia, the Superman trivia quiz has been updated for the beginning of a new month, and the 3 questions we're asking you this time around are, just open up that page right now and get my graphic up for the Super Trivia Quiz. The Super Trivia Quiz, where is the graphic? There it is, right there. So the questions this month are: who are the 4 actors who have portrayed Supergirl in live action films or TV shows? What is the name of the actor who portrayed Superman in the Broadway musical It's a Bird, It's a Plane, It's Superman in 1966? And which actor voiced the role of Superman in the American Express commercial starring Jerry Seinfeld? If you think you know the answers to those 3 questions, all you have to do is head to the Superman homepage website, supermanhomepage.com/trivia. Will get you to the Super Trivia Quiz. I should put out there at the moment, we are having a few technical issues with our server at the Superman homepage. So if you do come up across a error page, just be patient and maybe reload it. We are looking to move to a new and better and quicker server in the next week, so that's going to be a task. But there is that happening. That's also affected our Big Blue Report, our free Superman homepage newsletter. The 2 previous issues have not been sent out. I tried, but the server wasn't coping with them. So once that's all figured out, you haven't been unsubscribed, you haven't missed out on anything. I will send out the most 2 recent issues of our newsletter when things get fixed up on the server side of things. So you will receive the August 15th and the September 1st editions of the newsletter, which is free, by the way, if you haven't subscribed. It has content that you don't see on the website. If you're interested, you can go to supermanhomepage.com/newsletter. All right, so that's that out of the way. Just wanted to make sure that people, because I received a couple of emails from people saying, I didn't get the newsletters. Have I been unsubscribed? What happened? I haven't received it. So it's nice that people are noticing. Not nice.
I was about to say that.
Not nice that I'm having these technical issues, but that's what happens when you run a mega website that just outgrows the server. We are on a dedicated server too, so.
The site I run for my podcast is nowhere near as large as the Superman homepage, and I had to pay extra last year and upgrade to a different pricing hosting plan, just because I was maxing out the resources of the server I was on. So when you started talking about that, I'm like, God, Steve, not to your extent, but I know exactly what you're going through with that. Yeah, it's so annoying.
It has been keeping me up at night. It is stressful because, one, the website should be operating and it's not at its peak performance, and that stresses me out, that people might be getting error messages. And secondly, moving a website of this size and magnitude is not something that is an easy undertaking, and I'm trying to get the hosting company to do it for me because I know I'll probably stuff it up if I try to do it myself. So the migration service is a little bit tricky, but nevertheless, something that is necessary when you outlive the server that you're currently on. And we are on a dedicated server. We're not even on a hosting package. We've got a whole server to ourselves. So, fun and games. But there's heaps of Superman merchandise out and about at the moment. McFarlane Toys have been going crazy with Superman action figures this past week. There's the Superpowers Rebirth Wave 5.
No, not Rebirth.
Reborn. Superman Reborn 4-inch scale action figure that is available, and that comes in some pretty cool, snazzy Superpowers packaging. Then also there's a Injustice 2 Wave 10 Superman Injustice 2 7-inch scale action figure, which obviously also is available in different, different bits and pieces, and comes in, so many posable positions. And there's also a Brainiac version of the same Injustice 2 7-inch scale Wave 10 action figure that it also comes with different parts and bits and pieces and is different posable positions. And then there's a return of Superman Eradicator Mafex action figure that is available, and that comes with different parts and different heads and additional pieces.
That one piece of him with the blast, that is both awesome and silly all at the same time. It does look a little weird.
And there's also a sneak peek at an upcoming Supergirl McFarlane Toys Target exclusive action figure that will only be available through Target stores. So lots of action figure stuff happening this week as far as news is concerned. So all those links, if they're available to purchase online or pre-order, are available at our website. And I'll remind you that doing so, clicking on any of the links to purchase items through our website, are affiliate links. We do get a bit of a cutback. Sorry, I should say we get some monetary return from that at no extra cost to you. So we get a percentage of the sale without costing you anything extra. So there is a good way of supporting the Superman homepage. But that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's program. I want to thank Michael, who is running on fumes at the moment, coming straight off DragonCon, for participating and being my co-host once again. Thank you, Michael. You are a trooper.
Yeah, it's Rachel's like, you're actually doing the show. It's like, I can't miss the show. I mean, I'm not sick. There was an emergency. I'm tired. That's it. So
you're a legend.
Well, I'll take that. So.
And thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. We appreciate your support. Thank you to our live watchers and listeners, Butts and Nostalgic Podblast, Mind the Gap, Dinah Guy, Justin, who else? Michael Mortner, so many others, JP, all those people in the live viewing, watching us tonight. We appreciate your company. Thank you for watching us and spending this last hour with us. Michael and I will be back next week on Monday, September 11th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time for another edition of Superman Homepage Live. We hope you'll join us then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice on behalf of myself and Michael Bailey. Thanks for watching Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com. Good night.
Cut it out, but that's okay.